Welcome to this episode of the Fuck Trauma podcast with me, Candice Tamara. I have to be honest with you guys. I recorded this episode about a month ago already. And when I did that, my beautiful cat, who I adore, Blue, jumped on my lap as I was recording it, and he sat right here with me. And it was so beautiful. And what I didn't know then is that just a few weeks later, he passed away very, very young at the age of 3. And that was like literally the last time that I would record anything with him. And the reason why I'm re-recording this is because I was a little bit late with putting this episode out. It was meant to be out a few weeks ago, actually. Um, but I knew the footage had that footage of him and I was avoiding watching it because I thought it would make me really sad as much as I really wanted the footage still and would love it. I was very, very, very sad. And when I went to go and edit the footage to take to put it out for you guys, it has disappeared. It's completely disappeared. So I am totally gutted about that. So because I wanted to see that footage of him and I. And actually, when I came to sit down today for the first time in this chair to record this, his fur is still all over the chair. And I'm wearing black today, so that's great. He's grey and white, but never mind. It's bittersweet in that moment of like remembering that he's still here, and I cannot tell you the amount of love that I have for this cat. And to me, he was not a cat. Like, he came to me a few years ago, and don't worry, this episode is not going to be about a cat or Blue or grief or anything. It's a beautiful love story. And actually, when I realized the footage was gone, I realized that I get to tell this story even better now with this part about Blue in it. And I think it's a better episode than it even was before. So I'm grateful for that. And sorry if you can hear in my voice any shakiness, but I will get through this. But when Blue came to me, I was on holiday in Greece a few years ago, and I've always been a big cat lover. I grew up with a cat who, I grew up in a very traumatic and abusive home, and I had this one cat, and I had no siblings, and she was like, I had like this really beautiful bond with her. Like when I could be crying, which would be all the time, she was always there with me, comforting me. And so I've always had a deep, deep love for cats. And a few years ago, I was like, I want a cat. But I didn't know how I would choose one. And so I kept saying to people, I just need a cat to come and knock on my door and kind of choose me. So I know I manifested this because when I was in Greece, although I was referring to my actual home, when I was in Greece on holiday, on the first night, I opened my front door of my hotel room, and this little baby cat, Blue, walked in because it was raining so heavily outside, and he was a stray cat, and he walked in, and from that moment on I have been completely in love with him, and I brought him over to the UK. He had the best nature ever, like was just so loving but also very adventurous, very headstrong, and just so funny and so cute at the same time. And um what was really great and why I say it's a love story is because when I met Blue, my heart was so closed and I didn't know it. I was so afraid of love and afraid of family and all of these things. And when I met Blue, it was like it really helped me to open my heart and expand my heart to love and to feel that unconditional love and feel worthy of it even. And so it was a really beautiful, beautiful thing. And I truly believe that he really, really, really helped me to open myself up to be able to manifest my partner that I have now. And that is what we will move into in a second. but love comes in so many different forms, and sometimes we seek it and we chase it in forms that are actually not love itself. And what I want to just challenge you to do, because this really helped me, was just open yourself up to all the ways that you actually have so much love in your life in whatever form it is, and just feel gratitude for that, because with doing that you are literally expanding yourself and teaching your nervous system how safe love is, whatever that looks like. So Blue definitely helped me to do that, and I am absolutely devastated not to have him with me. But my piece in this, if there is any, there is that his love lives on still in me and in my partner, that he helped me to manifest and to create. And it's so interesting because I recorded quite a few episodes on that day that I last recorded this, and he didn't come in, he didn't come anywhere near me. But on the episode that I'm about to record today, although a better version, this was the episode that he came and joined me and sat with me for. And I think that's really, really telling. Anyway, thank you so much for letting me share that with you, and we will move on to today's episode of how I created, manifested my dream relationship, and how you can do that too. Okay, so the first thing that I really did, and what I want to encourage you to do, is get really clear on what you want in a partner. And this is going to be a little bit different to what you normally hear, because, you know, I know that it's not so easy when you've experienced trauma, anxious attachment style, not had the best role models. And a lot of the time, and especially if you've listened to a few of the other episodes in this series, your love life is literally defaulting on repeat. So you are picking partners really truthfully based on your family dynamics. It's no surprise that they say women pick people like their fathers, and men pick people like their mothers, for instance. It is literally on default because that is what you know love to be. Now, for me, I was definitely doing the default thing my whole life. But when I realized that I got to create this and I get to change this and manifest the partner that I want, I decided I don't want to manifest from anything I've experienced before. I don't want to manifest anything that I've seen it from my family. I wanted to manifest not what I thought I deserved or was worthy for. Or, you know, because of the past and because of what I've experienced, I wanted to decide that, like, I am worthy of this now, even though I'd never experienced it. And this is why it's really important to focus on these things, rather than, I think people get really messed up on like, oh, I want them to be over 6 foot tall. Like, honestly, that is not, you can have that too, but that is not what you want to get clear on. What you want to get clear on is, how do you want them to treat you? You know, I wanted to be adored. I'd never experienced that. I never experienced that. I felt like I was always the one chasing other people and putting them on a pedestal. And I was like, I want to feel adored. I want to be adored. And to be honest, that was really difficult at first, because I was like, what does that even look like? My mind was telling me, Candice, you've never had that before, you know, all of these things. But I was like, no, I want to be adored. I want to feel cherished and chosen every single day with my partner. I want someone that's romantic, you know. I remember I dated someone before I met my partner, and I asked them, are they romantic? And they flat out said no. And I was like, I was gonna kind of go with that, even though I was like, no, I'm not gonna, like, why are we settling for things we think is just, you know, all we deserve? And so I was like, no, I want somebody that's romantic. I do. I want that. I want somebody that takes care of me. I want somebody that supports me, that I don't have to fix and save and pull along. And I want someone that prioritizes me. You know, I've never felt prioritized in my relationships. I always felt it was always, you know, them prioritizing something else. And so I was like, no, I want these things in a partner. Of course, I wanted them to be secure, emotionally available, committed. I started to see like, what would my husband look like? What would my partner look like? I wanted a partner that I could build a life with. I wanted somebody that like could take care of the home things with me, that could take care of me if I'm not well, that could be a really good family man. I started to look at those kind of things, and not everyone wants that, and that's totally fine. But you want to look at those qualities, because I think sometimes we get so caught up, and I know with anxious attachment style, you get caught up in the spark, that you need this spark from the beginning. And that spark is really just chasing something that is validation. It's sparking something inside of you. And it's not really the healthy love that you really want. It's not the partner that you really want. So it's really important that first you have to get clear on what that looks like. And trust me, that was not normal for me either, but that is what you want to do, how you want to feel every day with that person. And then the other thing that I had to do is that I had to let go of all the stories I was holding, the stories around men, the stories around partners that I attract, the stories around that you think are keeping you safe. So for instance, I had a story around, I thought I could only date a Londoner. So I'm a Londoner, and I kind of thought they understood me more, you know, or whatever it was. It was rubbish. It's just a complete rubbish story that your mind is creating for you to keep you safe. But it's actually just keeping you in the comfort zone of what you always go for, and doesn't work for you because it's not actually what you need. So and with that, I also had a story around you know, I didn't think an American would be a good fit for me, because truthfully, I thought that Americans were, and if you're American, I love you guys, and I've worked with so many Americans. Actually, it's a really positive story as to why I didn't think an American would be a good fit. But this is how it was my trauma response speaking. So I was like, oh no, I thought American men might be really like, really open with their feelings, really passionate and, you know, forward and positive with their feelings and and in general, and really enthusiastic. That was the kind of thought that I had, right? Now, why wouldn't I want that? And I'll tell you why I didn't want that. Because my trauma response state was always, I have to be the positive one. That's what I've attached my worth to. I'm the one that fixes other people. That is what I've attached my worth to. So I'm used to pulling people along. So what would it mean if I didn't have to pull this person along, if they were positive all by themselves, in fact, more bloody positive than me? And what would it mean if they were so open with their feelings and so sure of me? Then that was just something I never had, because I was always used to chasing them, you know? So the idea of someone being so sure of me, even though it's what we really want, it will still send your nervous system into like, you know, an anxious fear, because you've never experienced that before. So even the ones that you think are too nice and they're the good people and all of the good men, the good women, whatever it is, that are too boring for you, there's no sparkle, it's actually really because they're so certain of you that it makes you feel so uncomfortable. But it also doesn't make you feel the usual spark feelings. So that's why you interpret it as they're not the right person for you. And so my partner is American, and his name's Todd, and he is all of those things. He is positive, he is driven. I do not have to put him along, and he is very open about his feelings and was very certain of me, very intentional from the very beginning. But before that, I would have sabotaged that. I had to let go of that story. So I had to start to open myself to what that looks like. You know, I am open to what this partner is, and I'm going to let go of all the stories of trying to make other people fit this version of this partner. And I'm going to just open myself up and trust that whoever is the right person, it will be. And there he was. There he came along. And actually, truthfully, it happened like days after I decided to drop into that state of being like, I just let go, and I'm detached from everything and everyone, and I'm just going to allow it to come to me. Now, so I want to invite you to write out the stories that are holding you back and literally burn it or rip it up, shred it, whatever you need to do. Write out those shitty stories that you have about men, women, about your past relationships. I only attract avoidance, all of those kind of things. Get rid of them. And obviously, if you have other stories like me, like they must be this way, they must be that way, get rid of them. And then the second thing I want you to do is write down all those qualities that you really want in a partner. Focus on what you want instead and let go of the rest, because trust me, the feeling of feeling safe, supported, cherished, chosen, prioritized, and all those things is going to matter so much more than trying to micromanage what that looks like for you. You are going to feel so much better. And your micromanaging is literally your fear, your anxious attachment style, your nervous system trying to box you and keep you safe, but it's not. It is sabotaging you from your happy ever after. And then the second thing that you have to do is you have to become the version of you that is in that relationship, and that is exactly what I had to do. And this is all about self-concept work, right? So it's all good and well saying I want a supportive partner, somebody that takes care of me, but if you are hyper independent like I was and have massive walls up, you're not allowing yourself to receive these things. You have to allow yourself to receive support and being taken care of. And a lot of us are in trauma response states where we don't know how to do that because we've always just relied on ourselves. And those fears are there. So I had to step up and become the version of me that was allow myself to be supported and taken care of, because my partner is literally the most supportive person, the most he takes care of me unbelievably. But I wouldn't have been able to receive that. I would have started to sabotage that when it came in. So I got really good at starting to receive. And here's some ways that like I did it. So for instance, like compliments, just thank you so much. That's just one way that you're receiving. If someone wants to buy you a coffee or get you a drink or something, thank you so much. You're just receiving it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And knowing that you are worthy and safe of receiving it is fine. And then I started to like notice, people doing things for me, men doing things for me. And I was like, thank you, thank you. I would let them. I've stopped rushing to pay a bill on a date as well. I stopped doing that. Why? And I know that this is a big debate. It's not about not being able to pay the bill. It's about allowing someone to do it. If somebody is stepping up to do these things for you, it's receiving them. Because when you don't receive the support, it's because you don't feel worthy of it. It's because your self-concept is wired in, it's not safe for me to be supported. But when you think about the partner that you want to build a life with, or you just want to have a boyfriend now or girlfriend now, whatever it is, you want to be able to receive, and I know you do. I know you do. And the only reason that you haven't been able to up until this point is because you're not feeling safe to be, you're not being the version of you that is supported and taken care of. So think about the ways that you can sit back into that, if that is something you desire, of course, where you can start to shift your self-concept and be that version of you now that receives, that if you're, a woman, steps into your feminine of receiving rather than being in their masculine of doing. And I know that is so hard with an anxious attachment style. And, if you're hyper independent, I get it. I was Mrs. Doer, Mrs. Independent. I'll do it all. I don't need anyone. But I promise you that is literally the wrong energy, and it will not attract people that will actually do things for you, or attract people that you have to keep over giving to, you have to keep pleasing, and you have to keep chasing and fixing, and all of these things that you're probably experiencing, and people that avoid you. It will attract all of that because it's that energy. The other thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to be chosen. I wanted my self-concept to be chosen, and chosen, prioritized are very similar. So I know that sometimes we don't always use the word chosen. Before I understood about self-concept, I was really like, I never said I want to be chosen. But essentially that is it. And so I had to start choosing myself first. That I had to embody the version of me that was chosen. So I didn't accept any shitty behavior from anyone. I wasn't entertaining things that I didn't think were up to my worth, my standard, whatever it was, that was of a chosen person. I wasn't chasing anyone. At every part, I would stop and say, if I believed I was chosen, what would I do in this moment? And the truth is, the reason why you run after these people, why you try and, you get anxious and you feel all these things, is because you fear they're going to leave you and you fear that you're not chosen. And I know that might have been your past. That was totally my past too. But I started to reprogram my self-concept to be like, I am always chosen. I am always chosen. And of course, my mind was like, no, you're not. You're never chosen. But I was like, no, I am. I am always chosen. And I kept going with it. I didn't care, no matter how much I might have seen evidence of the opposite. And of course, that was really triggering. I kept persisting in the fact that I am always chosen and I am choosing myself. And I'm choosing to look at all the ways that I am chosen. So that's another way that you can do it as well. So, you know, Blue, he would come and choose me to come and have cuddles with, for instance. Great, I'm so chosen. Or, you know, a friend might do something for me. Great, I'm so chosen. Or a date might do something for me. Great, I'm so chosen. Start to look at all those ways and start to embody the version of you that is chosen. What decisions would you be making from that version of you? Because I guarantee it will be the opposite of a lot of the decisions that you make. And at first, when you start to do that, your nervous system is going to be wired, you know, because you're making a different decision to what you normally do. So it might feel scary. It's like when you try and put a boundary in, and at first you feel like, oh my God, the guilt, and you feel so much fear doing something different, right? I understand that. And what the thing that we do wrong is that we don't do it. We don't go forward. We go back to where we are instead. But actually, you must persevere through that uncomfortable phase, and it becomes your new normal. And then people start to reflect that back to you. They start to choose you too, because you're choosing you. So look at all the ways that you can choose yourself, because it is a mirror. They will start reflecting it. You will get treated better than you've ever been treated in your entire life when you start to become the version of you that is in that relationship. And then the other thing for me is that I realized I was scared. I was scared of love. I was scared of vulnerability. That was one of the things that I had to really, really move forward. And a lot of us, you know, will be doing that. We'll be putting on masks and we'll be fearing that rejection, fearing that abandonment, and fearing vulnerability. So I started to be like, I love and accept myself unconditionally, and I attract love effortlessly. It is safe for me to be vulnerable. It is safe for me to be me, because essentially all we're doing is literally hiding ourselves. And really what we want is to be loved and accepted as ourselves. But when we're hiding ourselves out of fear, out of a trauma response, we're going to get that mirrored back to us. We're not going to get love. We're going to get ego. We're going to get walls back to us. That's exactly what happened to me. You know, I was getting ego reflected back to me. I was getting people with walls up against me because I had walls up myself. So I had to really disarm those walls. I had to open my heart, and Blue was wonderful for this, but also like starting to be like, I am safe. I'm safe to be loved. I am safe to love. I am love, and I love and accept myself unconditionally. And I started to embody that version of me, like, I am enough. I am love now. I am love now. It is safe for me to love. So those were just some of the few things that I had to do. I had to be able to call in my partner, who is everything I could have ever wished for in in respect. And there's some good examples of that. So what I want to ask you to do is, what are the beliefs that you're carrying yourself, that you're holding on to? Write them down on a piece of paper, and also write down who you would be if you were in that relationship. And it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship now, it's the same thing. You can change this at any time. It's just who you're being. You know, you could be in a relationship right now, but you're feeling like you're really anxious and you're feeling like you're chasing them. And I've definitely been in those relationships, those examples, right? You can start to do this work now to shift that within yourself, and it will shift the dynamic. It will shift your energy, because you're no longer prioritizing them. You'll start to prioritize yourself still. You'll start to choose you. You'll start to do all those things that you're doing, and they will start to reflect that back when you start to change that story. So the third thing that you have to do is you have to be able to receive your partner, your manifestation, when it comes in, without sabotaging it. And the key to this is nervous system regulation. I do not talk about this stuff for no reason. It is life-changing, because especially when you have anxiety, when you have trauma, any of these kind of things, right, that you experience. Otherwise you'll sabotage it, and that is what you have done in the past, and I did too. So once I got into the point of like embodying it and then just releasing it, surrendering, my manifestation came in, my partner came in very quickly. We matched on a dating app like a few days after I got into that state. And for anyone that says dating apps don't work, they absolutely do work. That is just another belief that you are carrying around. I have had so many clients that meet their partners through dating apps, and it is a wonderful tool. So if you have those kind of beliefs, you want to get clear on what those beliefs are too, because they're sabotaging you. Now, we matched on Hinge a few days later, and it wasn't anything crazy. Like, I'm not in the point in my life where I'm interested in someone texting me all day, every day, because that is your anxious attachment style, addicted to that dopamine to feel needed and wanted, and that they're not losing interest. So he's a secure man. He had his own life. He was not texting me all day, every day. We would send like one good text that had depth. It showed that we were aligned and that, I was getting to know him and to know that he was a really good man, a good person, and had the qualities that I was looking for, as initially over texting. I hadn't met him yet. And there was no good morning messages, which was totally wonderful. And that's why sometimes this is what I'm saying about the stories that you have to let go of, because a secure, grown person is not going to spend the time texting you all day long. They are not going to necessarily send you good morning messages because they're a stranger at that point, and that's only creating a false relationship, a false sense of intimacy, and that's only your anxious attachment style that wants it. So I wasn't interested in any of those things. He didn't do any of those things, which is fantastic. But what he did send was fabulous messages that were long, they were detailed, they showed me who he really was, and likewise. And we continued to message. We actually messaged for a few weeks, so without even looking to meet up. And this is why I say that this is where you have to be careful the stories you tell yourself and regulate your nervous system, because, I'm sure a lot of you listeners to this will be like, oh my God, he didn't ask to meet in the first few weeks. He's not interested, right? But that's just a story. I knew this person was interested. And better still, I just knew that I was in this incredible relationship because of who I had become. So I had surrendered. So I didn't care. Like, I just knew that I had a good connection with this person and I'd like to meet them. But I wasn't trying to force anything to happen. And when you think about these things, it's because you're forcing it, because you fear they'll leave you, because you fear you're not chosen. But remember, I was embodying the version of me that knew I was chosen. So I wasn't trying to rush anything. I was just allowing the universe to deliver to me who I had decided I wanted and manifested and was ready for. So I just enjoyed the conversations. I trusted that I absolutely would meet this person. I thought we were having wonderful conversations, and I was definitely interested. And then we did meet, and straight away it was very obvious to me that this was the person I had been manifesting. This was the person that I had asked for. It was very clear to me he had all those qualities, and he was that person. He was very grounded in himself. But I didn't tell him that. I didn't tell him that. I literally just observed, which is the most important thing you can do. I wasn't trying to rush and be like, oh my God, it's him, I must jump on him now. I didn't. I observed. In my mind, I was like, okay, he's ticking all of these things that I said I wanted in a partner without realizing it. It was just naturally coming out in hearing him speak, and the way that he was with me. He was very much a gentleman. There was no crazy first date. It was really just about getting to know each other, and we just talked for a really long time, which was wonderful. And, he was very intentional from the beginning, told me that he really liked me and would really like to see me. And I was like, yeah, great. I, of course, thought this is my manifestation. This is the person I've been asking for. But I didn't tell him that. And anyway, so, and the most important thing that I did was I kept my rhythm. Even though I knew that this person was the person I'd been asking for, I didn't try and rush things. I kept my schedule exactly it. Of course, he wanted to see me, and I just kept seeing him once a week in the beginning. I was busy, and the only time I could do was like Saturdays or whatever it was. Saturday evenings, because I had lots to do, and I just stuck to my rhythm. So even though I knew that it was him, because I was so grounded in my self-concept and so grounded in my nervous system, I wasn't trying to rush anything. I just observed. I just watched how he was with me. I watched our interactions. I watched the thoughtful dates that he took us on. Remember I said I wanted someone really romantic. It was so romantic from the very beginning. The second date we went on, I turned up and he had like a rose for me and a card that had poems, beautifully, not poems, just one poem that he had written because he's a writer, talking about like how he felt about me or how he saw me. And it was really, really beautiful. And he, has continued to be incredibly romantic to this day. Flowers all the time, very thoughtful dates all the time, planning everything, poems, he does send me good morning messages now. I mean, like, he does send me really thoughtful messages of like, very long messages like that he did when we were dating. So it took time to get to that point, which is what I appreciate. There's the ones where you just like meet them and from that moment you're good morning, baby, and all day, every day texting. I promise you that is a big mistake. It takes time. Relationships take time to build and build that real, true intimacy, not that fake intimacy that is having you attached and addicted to it. So over time, of course, then started sending me long messages, poems every day, beautiful, beautiful messages that you could ever, hope for because he was romantic, which is what I said I wanted. And, but one thing I would say is that just everything was going wonderful and I knew he was the person I asked for, but it doesn't mean that your anxiety or your nervous system can't have a moment of sparking. And I do remember there was one time in the early stage of dating that because this man was so sure of me, he was so committed to me, he was so prioritizing me, he was very intentional, not in a crazy way, just in an intentional way of, this is what I want to happen here. And I'm sure it's you. He saw me, because I was finally seeing me and seeing my value and my worth. But there was a moment where my anxiety started to go because somebody was so sure of me that everything I could ever want, like the real commitment, family, the partner, all of those things I'd actually manifesting. Oh my God, now it's here. And so my nervous system started to be like, are you sure? Are you sure you're ready for this? And it had nothing to do with him. And that's where I had to be like, no, this is what we asked for. Everything is fine. Everything is continuing. And I just regulated my nervous system and it passed very quickly. And I was able to receive more and receive everything that happened. For me, that was using tools every day to make sure my self-concept was in place. My beliefs were good and staying good. My self-talk was good. My nervous system was regulated with EFT tapping. That is why I never stopped going on about it. Breath work, inner child healing, all of those things that I teach about was how I was able to sustain it when it came in without, sabotaging it. And, that's what I want to ask you. If that dream partner came to you today and they were so ready for you, they were so committed, they adored you, they cherish you, all the things that you really want, how would that really feel to you? Because I think a lot of people think they want it, but their nervous system is scared. It's still wired to, love is not safe for me, they'll leave me. It's really vulnerable for me to love someone, of someone to love me that much. Do they really want me that much? I'm going to get hurt again, all of those things. And if there's any ping in you, any pang in your stomach or in your chest or anything when I say this, if they were right here, right now, you will be sabotaging them because you are not actually ready to receive them. And that is where you need to be careful to make sure you do the work, do the self-concept work, do the nervous system regulation, because it changes everything. You're able to then receive your partner and expand it without sabotaging it. It's the most wonderful feeling. And, when I say, like my dream relationship, I'm not saying he's perfect and I'm perfect. Of course not. Absolutely not. Or we don't argue. Absolutely we do. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It's so important because you grow in those moments. But it's about, it's my dream relationship because I am fully myself. Every day I just feel safe. I feel secure. I feel chosen. I feel cherished. I feel wanted, adored, valued, respected, all of those things, regardless of whether we're having an argument or whether everything is fantastic, we're laughing together, it remains the same. I never have to worry. I stand grounded in my in my secure self-concept and my worth myself, and I'm able to just be myself, you know. I never question what I say. I'm very open. We talk about absolutely everything. Yeah, like never hold myself back. I never walk on eggshells like I used to walk on eggshells. I never do any of those things. I am just 100% myself, and that is the dream relationship, you know. Nothing else exists. There is no such thing as not arguing or any of those things. It is being your complete self and safe, and not worrying that they're going to leave you, or that you're not loved and you're not chosen, and all of these things, and feeling like a priority every day. That is it. And I remember in the early stages of dating, you know, sometimes your old self can creep up on you. When you've been a long way for a really long time, it can be hard to change those things, but you totally can. And in the early days of dating, I remember we must have had a disagreement. I actually cannot remember the disagreement at all. I cannot remember anything, but I remember I was very vulnerable with whatever I said. I was very open. I expressed myself. He expressed himself, and I, you know, I had needs or whatever it was. I can't remember now, but I remember it being something like that. And then we went our separate ways, in the sense of I went off for the day to do my things and he went off to do his. So there was a bit of silence there, you know, we went together. And as I'm sure you know, silence for anyone that has an anxious attachment style can trigger your abandonment wound. So in the past, if that would have happened, I'd have been like worrying really badly, like trying to fix it, trying to text them and trying to smooth it over. My whole day would have been about that, you know. It would have been completely ruined. And of course, I'm human, so sometimes, you know, you still feel those little pings. And I guess I was a bit worried that, like, oh no, I've expressed myself, I've been really, you know, I've, you know, said my needs, whatever, like what's gonna happen here. And when I came home, he wasn't even here, and I had a beautiful bouquet of flowers and a beautiful card that was like, sorry and thank you for being you, and all of these beautiful things. And you know, it wasn't even an argument where any of us had done anything wrong. We had just fully expressed ourselves. And I remember in that moment being like, wow, this has really changed. I have really changed. My whole life has really changed because I was safe. I was completely safe. And not only that, I was celebrated for it. I wasn't, you know, not spoken to for 3 days or punished or all of those things. I was safe to express myself, and it was just a beautiful thing. So when I say dream relationship, that is what I mean. And there is truly nothing better. There is no better feeling than that. One thing I love is that he is so open to me sharing these things with you, and open to me sharing some of the harder conversations we've had to have, the harder things that I've had to navigate, you know, and which I want to do going forward, because it's not all roses all the time, and that's wonderful. But it is about being able to navigate these things in a healthy way, and being able to understand what is your beliefs, your self-concept, your anxious attachment, your fears, like holding you back and sabotaging you, and also be able to change them, and also be able to communicate that in your relationship, manage that, have those boundaries, all of those things that I've had to learn to do in a healthy relationship. That's just not normal. And I will definitely share some of these things going forward. But for now, I just want you to go back to that question, you know, if that person fully showed up for you, how ready are you to receive them? How does that feel in your body? Because manifesting my dream relationship, all of those things I've done in the past, you know, played it cool, didn't text them, did all those dating games, read the books, Why Men Love Bitches, all of that stuff. You can do all of those things. You can do all of those things that you see on TikTok, how to make them chase you, how to make, you know, all of these kind of things. I promise you it doesn't work, because it is a strategy. And the second you do it, it might work for 5 minutes. But really what it takes is changing your identity, changing your beliefs of who you are, regulating your nervous system to feel safe, and like becoming that version of you that really stands in their worth, so that the moment you have a disagreement, or the moment they pull back, or the moment they need space for a minute because they've got something going on, which is perfectly normal, or they don't text a good morning message or something like that, you become a completely different person, because those strategies will not keep you. You will not be able to hold it when there's an argument, when they pull back, when there's space, or you know, when they don't send that good morning message, or when you any of those things will re-trigger you into being your old self without doing the self-concept work and without doing the nervous system regulation. So that is the missing key. And I will die on this hill of telling you how important this stuff is to do. And all of this are these other things, these tricks, these things, they will not work. But when you are grounded in, this is who I am secure in who I am, I'm chosen, I love myself, I choose myself, I am worthy, I am enough, all of these things, I promise you, your actions will just align with it so naturally. It will just be the easiest thing. Your relationships will feel effortless. When I got into this relationship, I was like, my God, it's so effortless. I've never experienced this before. It was just brilliant. Like, you'll be able to just focus and be doing something else, focus on yourself, focus on your other parts of your life, not like worrying about a text or, you know, micromanaging everything. This is the work that you need to do. My partner is a direct reflection of all the work I did, and whoever you're manifesting and experiencing in your reality, in your lives, are a direct reflection of your inner state. So when you change that, I promise you it will change everything for you. It is so worth it. If you haven't done already, if you want to start, check out my free masterclass, Become Insecure You. It will definitely be a fantastic start to help you see what your patterns are, how it's manifesting, and it gives you the tools to start changing it and shifting it. And just open yourself up to love. Like, I know it can be really scary and really a vulnerable time for you. I felt the same, but honestly, when you do this work and you're grounded in you and you're loving you and you feel safe, it feels so, so good. And Blue was definitely a part of that for me. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again in the next episode.